Hello. My name is Daniel Nahmod. Are you applauding because I pronounced it correctly? It is pretty unusual. Yeah. Thank you. My grandfather left Syria when he was 7, as far as we know, 7 or 8. And all he took with him was an H, so that my name could be mispronounced for my entire life. That's the story. That's the family lore. It's an Arabic Jewish name, Nahmad in Hebrew, or Nahmud in Arab. And in fact, I didn't intend that to be a segue into the song I decided to open with, but it is a little bit of a segue because I'll share more of this in the concert, and I might even share more of it in another song later in the service. But 25 years ago or so, I sang my first gig at a house of worship in Southern California, and one of the very first houses of worship I ever sang at was at the San Juan Capistrano Center for Spiritual Living. And when I did that gig, I had one album on my lonely little CD table, and now it's like the Nahmod Craft Show over there. And now there are 24 albums. And well, thank you. You haven't heard them all, so you know. I do my best. But I hadn't written this song yet. But I know that it was Heather, one of Heather's favorite songs of mine. Maybe I think one of her 2 favorite songs of mine. And it was a real gift to write the song because it was an encapsulation of something I'd always felt growing up in a traditional religious home, a Jewish home. It was a feeling I'd always had about the value of kindness over religiosity, regardless of your religion. So I was able to capture it for myself in a song, and have since then sung it literally thousands of times. And I always feel it and always mean it. And the reason I mention that it's kind of oddly apropos that I mentioned the H in my last name is because only in the last few years have I gotten clarity about some of the ways that some of the things that motivate me to do the job that I do. I'm not exactly sure what you'd even call this job, or what you'd call this kind of music, whatever it is. But I don't think it's an accident that I am both Arab and Jew. That I am Nahmud and Nahmad. That I am Syrian and Jewish. And that was a slow realization. We don't think of ourselves as Syrian, but I am. I am both cultures. So without any further ramblings, good morning, thank you for having me, and we'll open with this song. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. one power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. And we'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit or Jesus or Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or Heaven's Door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, yeah. One power is what we are. It's the moment of creation. It's an everlasting peace. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon, for it's love that's most deep. It's one power. Oh, what we are is one. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me.
Thank you, Daniel. Oh, it's so wonderful to have you back. Now it's time for all of us to stand up and sing our opening congregational song. Please join us in Center of Creation.
Wow. Thank you, Rita McPhail and Reverend Karen Allen, for starting us out, and Daniel Nahmont for that. Probably listened to that song couples of thousands of times. And it's never so beautiful as it was today. So welcome, everyone, to the Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful San Clemente. What a joy today is. My name is Judy Chapman, and I am your assistant minister. And 3 or 4 years ago, I was up visiting the Sierra Center for Spiritual Living with Reverend Rafe Ellis, who now has moved to Maryland to pastor that church. But he shared something with me, and I want to share it with you, because I've seen several new faces here for the past 2 or 3 months, and I just went, who are we? What do we believe in? So let me just share what Reverend Rafe said. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, supportive community that celebrates the very diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic spiritual lives through a practical application of teachings of the science of mind. We engage in conscious practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and to the world. We experience meaningful contributions through giving generously of our time, our talents, and our treasures. We intentionally promote our community and our teachings. That's who we are, and I love who we are. And welcome today to this fabulous, wonderful service we have. So we will start our service with the Flames of Faith, which was pretty much everything what Daniel just sang in one power. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence that we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and the practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring that Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and the path of peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the universal path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as our practitioner, Jill Burnett, lights that last candle, let it represent the path that brought you to this center this morning. Now please join me in 2 minutes of sacred silence.
This is what I know. There is only one divine power and presence that resides within. This is what I call God. I know that God is in me, as me, through me. I know that it is for everyone present here. This power, this divine presence, resides in all that there is. We are the divine expression of God. It is love, it is light, it is beauty, it is joy, it is abundance, and true perfection. I know we have the power within to determine our own destination. Therefore, we think and declare what we want, and it is received. I know every day we are all in the abundant flow, knowing that everyone is in their right place at their right time. We are all protected, guided, and we are all whole, perfect, and complete. Today, I know we take away something from this service that feeds and fills us with exactly what we need. We accept God's love, knowing that the faith of God will conquer all. I give great thanks and release this into the law, knowing that it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Okay, our global vision. We see a world that works for all, where humanity rediscovers personal creative power, where we live as one global family, where communities are meaningfully involved in service to the world, and where there is peace, harmony, and justice for all. Today's affirmation, repeat with me, please. My inward journey and outward experience are in alignment, and so it is.
Thank you, Jill. And now it is with extreme joy that I welcome back, won't say to the platform because it's down there. So, Daniel Mema. We were trying to figure out how long it's been. He's been here. I think it's been about 4 years. We're so happy you're back. Daniel Mema.
I am sincerely, truly happy to be back too. It's been too long, and this community has always been one of my. And I'm not saying it to pander, honest to God. It's always been one of my favorite communities to sing for, closest to my heart. Thank you for allowing me to share some music. We'll call One Power old, and we'll call this next song new. So thank you for allowing me to sing old and new songs for you. You know what, this song came to mind as I spoke with Alice about the theme of the morning, and I had a conversation with a friend a few months ago. Actually, it had to be longer than that now because it's on the new album, and the new album took forever to record, so it must have been a year and a half ago. Anyway, she's somebody I always admired, talented, successful, prosperous, generous, kind, lots of friends, nice husband, just kind of an awesome person all around. And she started telling me, kind of off the cuff, some of her life story that I'd never heard. And it was way, way rougher than I ever would have imagined. And it sort of dawned on me, oh, I thought you were just awesome person. And it turns out that this person sitting in front of me has strength and perseverance and guts behind the scenes that you don't go around flashing like a resume, or like a credential or to impress. You just are who you are, but how you got to who you are is solid gold. And then I started thinking about other people I know, or maybe don't know so well. Started thinking about the possibility that no matter who I'm talking to, if I scratch the surface, I might find somebody with that kind of guts and perseverance, somebody who has been through it. No matter where they've arrived, it may be impressive, even if I don't like them. Who they've become may be a triumph some sense, destined to be from where they came from. So I would invite you, as I sing the song, the song came from that thought, and then as I sing it, I am thinking about people in my life to whom it applies, and I'd be interested after, if you feel like sharing, whether you feel like the song is about you, entirely reasonable and possible, or whether you feel like the song is about the person sitting next to you, or somebody you know, or somebody you used to know, who pops into your head, to whom we can give just an extra 5% of respect and compassion, whether you like them or not, to think about where they came from, to arrive where they are. I've never understood how you turned out so good with all that you've had to endure. No one expected you to make the best of you. The deck stacked against you, for sure. But still here you stand, and still here you are, lighting the world with your luminous heart. Yeah, an ordinary mortal would have quit by now, with a life like a field full of mines. You're human, I know, only muscle and bone, but you must have steel in your spine. You never talk about when you first figured out that you'd have to go it alone. It breaks my heart to picture you, a child hiding out of you, so young to fight on your own. The more that I learn, the more I admire how you never got burned, being forged in the fire. Yeah, an ordinary mortal would have quit by now, with a life like a field full of mines. You're human, I know, made of muscle and bone, but you must have steel in your spine, and that would explain how you never admit any pain. So let me just say, that child has a lot to be proud of, but no longer needs to keep the world at bay. If you were mortal, you'd have quit by now. You've been counted out so many times. You're human like me. You can bruise, you can bleed, but you must have steel in your spine. Yeah, a mortal would have quit by now, but your light was determined to shine. There's so much more than they see, a superhero to me. You must have steel in your spine. You must have steel in your spine.
Thank you, Daniel. Wow, that was wonderful. Let's give Daniel another hand. Well, we are going deep this month, and we're going to start with a power talk from one of our practitioners. And so I would like for you to give a very warm welcome to Jody Chardon.
Thank you. Outer harmony, inner harmony, and outer health. I speak these words for myself and for each one here, the words of Ernest Holmes. There is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. I see you. I see you as perfect, whole, and complete. I see you as radiant health. Spirit is perfect. It cannot get sick. It knows no illness, no disease. And each one of us is an emanation of spirit, perfect, and we can't get sick. In the 1800s, Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, was told she had 2 to 3 months to live. She realized that in order to heal her physical body from dis-ease, she needed to first see herself as God sees her, as a perfect child of God. So she affirmed, I am a perfect child of God and I did not inherit illness. She kept affirming for 2 years. It took 2 years to eradicate TB from her body. After that, she was never sick with any illness again. She lived to be 86 and transitioned when she decided it was time. The messages we tell ourselves, the messages that we allow into our consciousness, our subconscious mind knowingly and unknowingly create our experience. And there's good news. There is good news. When we look in the mirror, when we visualize ourselves as perfect, when we visualize ourselves in radiant health, rejuvenated and restored, when we feel it, when we sense it, when we know it, the mirror of life can do nothing less than reflect back to us exactly how we see ourselves. The inner harmony creates the outer experience. So look away. Look away from disease. Look away from illness. Don't claim it. It is not the truth of you. And it doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter the illness. It does not matter what society tells us. It doesn't matter. There is no thing too big for God, no situation, no health challenge that is too big for God. Repeat after me. My body is youthful. My body is youthful. It knows it. It knows it. And it shows it. And it shows it. One more. My body is a... Sorry, I was giving you a new one. But let's say that one again since it was so delicious. My body is youthful. It knows it and it shows it. My body is a wellness-making machine. My body is a wellness-making machine. And so I affirm for myself and for each one here that there is perfect God life in me, flowing through me as vibrant strength, radiant health, and perfect harmony. Keep affirming your health. Expect the best. See yourself as healthy. Believe you are whole. And watch yourself heal. And when you're just too close to it, like we all are sometimes, call a practitioner. They can know the truth for you. And you are worth it. I am so happy and grateful for this prayer, so happy and grateful for the power of spirit, of eternal healing, of love, of peace, of joy flowing through me, flowing out into this center, into this community, healing, making each one whole. I release these words in gratitude into the law. Please join me and sing, and so it is.
Wow. Whew. Thank you, Jody. Thank you so much. Well, I'll be the fourth, fifth, sixth person today to say good morning. Good morning to you. I'm so happy to be here with you this morning, Jody. What a wonderful power talk to remind us of our wholeness. And I'm really struck with this image of Myrtle and Fillmore and having illness and doing that deep inner work to realize her wholeness. Yeah, 2 years. I don't know about you, but I'd be running off to the doctor in 5 minutes. Of course, the world was a very different place then, and the wonderful realizations, the wonderful experiences that we have now in the medical community that are available to us were not available to her then. And so I'm so grateful for all that was inspired by people who were living at that time, who were developing this idea of new thought and the principles that we teach. They were the real pioneers, weren't they? They were pioneering the difficult landscape without a lot of real resources available to them. They had to go within. And of course, we talk about going within all the time on Sunday mornings. We've been doing this wonderful journey, if you will, with a year-long theme called Living Out Loud. And as we look at this idea of living out loud, we've been exploring a couple of different ideas. We've been looking at curiosity, we've looked at authenticity, and then we looked at vulnerability. And this month, we're looking at the shadow. And I think we really need curiosity and authenticity and vulnerability to begin to look at what lies beneath and what lies underneath, and to look at the dark side, if you will, those things that are kind of unlovely, very much what Myrtle must have experienced when she was giving a diagnosis of 2 months to live. That place in us that sometimes experiences challenges in life. I want to start by saying that it's really important as we look at the dark and the light all month, as we're looking at the shadow and we're looking at the light within the shadow, that dark or light is not good or bad. It's more like conscious and unconscious. That when we are dealing with our shadow, when we're dealing with the things that are in the subjective that we might not be aware of, then we're just dealing with unconscious ideas that have somehow lodged themselves in our unconscious, our subconscious, and we experience them. We experience them as illness, we experience them as hardship, we experience them as lack and limitation. And so doing shadow work is really about bringing the light to those subconscious ideas so that we can be more conscious and we can live more authentically. The psychologist and renowned author Marianne Woodman wrote, "If we identify too closely with the light and we have idealized an image of ourselves, then our shadow will surely come up and hit us in the backside. The same is true if we have identified with our negative side. Either position is a denial of our wholeness." Somebody really clever and smart and brilliant once said, it's either all God or it's not. It's really simple, right? It's either all God or it's not. And so as we look at these places that are less than lovely, I want to encourage you to be open-minded, to be willing to be courageous and curious and authentic and vulnerable, to see what life is telling you. Oftentimes we walk around with this mirror effect. Sometimes we call it projection. The things that are coming up and bubbling up in us, we tend to project outward into the world around us, into our significant others especially. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. And I want to say that in my personal experience, I have found that in living these principles and really beginning to integrate them into my life, that in the first few years of working with Science of Mind and this culture that we have about oneness, I had some wonderful and amazing experiences. Things opened up. It was just a lovely time. And then things slowed down a little bit. I remember very distinctly, I was a newly minted minister, and I was at a conference, and our beloved Dr. Kathy Hearn was speaking. She was from that other group, because this was like 2008. I didn't quite know who she was, but she showed up at a ministers' conference and she was talking about this thing called integration and all that. You don't need to bother yourself with that. We had two branches. We were merging into one, and it was a little scary. And so she offered that if any of us were feeling uncomfortable about that we should stick around afterwards to do a process that would help us with that. Now, some of you who have taken classes or workshops are probably familiar with the Fear to Faith. It's a process where we look at the things that are of great concern to us, and we weave our way into a place of greater faith. I was amazed. I stayed after. I was curious, and I was willing to be authentic and vulnerable, and I stayed after the gathering for the workshop, and I did this thing called Fear to Faith, and I was really amazed at what came up. I thought I was enlightened. And here I was uncovering things that I didn't realize that were sitting in my subjective. It was a really powerful experience for me, and it opened the door for me for about 15 years of doing some really healthy shadow work that allowed me to take the sunlight of the Spirit and really shine it inside my subjective and my unconscious, and to look at those experiences that I might have had unexpressed emotions. I have found that often shadow work can be really helpful when we have those unexpressed emotions. Carl Jung did a whole body of work. You're probably familiar. Anybody hear of Carl Jung here? Yeah. He did a whole body of work around the shadow, and he said that most adults find themselves with repressed emotions. And they come from childhood. And you could have lived Leave It to Beaver, Brady Bunch, whatever generation you're from. You could wonderful childhood. And yet we have experiences where emotions come up and we don't know how to experience them. We don't know how to deal with them or process them. And so they get repressed. And if you can picture, it's kind of like a layering. We layer on the coping mechanisms that keep us from feeling. But emotions are simply feelings that need to be in motion. They need to be expressed and completed. And so when we begin to look at this idea of shadow work, I learned how to release those unexpressed emotions. And so now when I find myself triggered, and all that means is when I find myself in a place where I might have a reaction or a response that is undeserving of the situation, that thing that happens when you like stub your toe and your head blows off, you're so angry or upset, right? Am I the only one who has this experience? Yeah, you bite somebody's head off and you regret it later, like, what was that all about? Yeah, that's just repressed emotions that wants to come up. And so what I have found is when I'm triggered now, it's a beautiful invitation for me to look at what wants to be released. And sometimes, because I've done a lot of shadow work, sometimes it's pretty easy. It's a little thread that I just pull out, a little weed that I don't need anymore. And sometimes I have to do a little digging. But the excavation is so worth it. Because what I have come to understand is that what this philosophy does for me, and it does for a lot of people like me, is it allows us to come to a place where we can be so clear, where we have greater coherence, where there's clarity, so that when the sunlight of the Spirit is shining through us, the only filter that it has is our authenticity. And we stand true to who we are. I want to share a reading with you as I wrap this beginning of our month of the lights in the shadow by one of my favorite teachers, Mirabai Starr. Mirabai Starr and I are about the same age, and we actually both grew up in the same Long Island area, but I didn't know her at the time when we were both children. And she became what I like to refer to as a Jewish, mystic, hippie chick that translates Christian mystics. And one of her latest books, Wild Mercy, is full of beautiful essays. And in this particular essay, entitled Melting Down, Dissolving into the One, ever since you first tasted the elixir of nobodiness, maybe in the midst of meditating or grieving, you have lost your hunger for somebodyness. Mainstream culture conditioned you to construct a persona and defend it with all your might. The endless self-improvement project, fueled by self-loathing and foiled by the realities of the human condition, has only reinforced the illusion that you are separate from your source. But in combination of spiritual practice and tragic losses, ended those games. You, for one, are relieved to surrender. Your surrender is invisible. You still go through the motions of promoting your work on social media. You make an effort to limit your carbs, practice yoga, pick out interesting things to wear. But that's not because you actually identify as an individual being, detached from other beings or from the earth or from the Holy One. You have come to understand that a functioning ego is necessary for an incarnate soul. You don't regard your ego as a problem. You just don't take it seriously, which used to piss your ego off, given its self-important nature. But she's getting used to it. When you were young, you recognized ultimate reality as the beloved, and you developed a powerful crush. Over the decades, your roles reversed and reversed again. You were the seeker. You were the sought. Eventually, in moments of deep stillness or unbearable anguish, lover and beloved melded. Only love remained. The state of suchness looked like emptiness, but felt like plenitude. You came to understand that not only have you been connected to your beloved all along, but you are that which you have been seeking. Yes. And so, beloveds, what I want to tell you about this topic of bringing the light into the shadow, as Marion Woodman's quote so perfectly talked about, and as my beloved Mirabai Starr talks about, what we find is that as we do this work, as we let go, as we surrender, as we see the sort of window dressing that we've been indoctrinated to put on ourselves as part of this culture, and we begin to strip all that away, and we stand naked, if you will, in front of each other, feeling safe because we're loved, we begin to really, truly understand what oneness is. Because we're no longer trying to fight for our security. We're no longer trying to unmask those things that come up for us. Instead, we're recognizing that there is a power and a presence that wants to express as means of us, like Myrtle, after her 2 years of letting go of, I'm sure, many layers of misguided beliefs. We come to that place of pure being where we are whole, perfect, and complete. Thank you very much. So before I bring Daniel up, we're going to do a little prayer. And so I invite you to close your eyes or lower your gaze. Maybe place your hands on your heart and know that this is where the beloved lives. It is all of what you are. It is all of what you see. There is no place where God is not. And so in this day, as we have come together for that once a week remembrance that we try to carry with us all week long, I know that each one is willing to be courageous and curious, authentic and vulnerable, willing to let the bumps in the road, the little landmines that come up in life, to simply be those places that are inviting us to go deeper. And so I know for each one that Source, Spirit, God, resources us with safe places so that we can indeed let go of the veneer, let go of the layers, and be present with ourselves as God. And so I invite you in the silence of your mind to say this. I see myself as God sees me. I see the beauty in myself as God sees the beauty in me. For God and I are one. As we surrender to this high idea of wholeness, I know for each one that we are guided, guarded, and protected as we walk out this week. We give great thanks for it. We let it go, and we anchor it in power by saying together, and so it is. And so it is my great pleasure to introduce Daniel Nahmod again. Thank you.
Ran away away from the sun. Ran away from the rain. Hid away from everyone. Ran away from the pain. Now I'm so out of breath. Now I'm so scared to death that I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground. No more running round. Here I am. What's a life covered up? Day and night, just not to fail. Like a life without love. Is its own kind of jail. And what a waste to regret what I haven't tried yet. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground with my heart unbound. Here I am. Throw in the game just to make sure that I never win. Kept counting myself out again and again. So nervous, running in circles till nobody knew where I'd been. Well, maybe today is the day that I let it all in. Maybe my secret heart, no original sin. It's time, I've made up my mind. I'm ready to dive in. I'm not running anymore. I'm not hiding anymore. For the first time in my life, I will stand my ground. I will sing out loud. Here I am. Oh, yeah. Here I am. Here I am.
Oh my. Wow, that was very powerful, Daniel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. It's time for our conscious committed giving. So if the stewards would please come forward. After the service today, Daniel's giving us a concert. And so you definitely want to stay. So It's suggested offering for this concert is $25 or more, and it can be put in this box right over here against the wall. So this is not the place to pay for the concert. The place to pay for the concert is over there. This is our conscious commitment. So if today is your day to give back into the center, thank you very much. If it is not, there's a blessing card behind your chair, and it says this: in deep gratitude for all my blessings, I place this card in the basket. I ask that these offerings be blessed, appreciated, and multiplied. It is my honor to give my blessing in this way. Thank you, God, universe, spirit. Let us say our offering affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply, and it symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
Hello. One more song for the morning. Actually, that's not true. There was one more we'll close with that some hack wrote years ago. That's one of my songs I'm talking about myself. Anyway, yeah, for the concert, less than an hour and a half, no intermission, just some more songs. You're invited, and you didn't say it because you are just among the most generous people I've known in the whole world, and you and your entire family have always looked out for Danny and his family for so many years. So she says $25 or more, and I would also say that if you don't have $5 extra because times are rough for you financially, I get it. I am an independent singer-songwriter, so you can imagine I might empathize with not having a pile of money hanging around. My wife is a freelance jeweler, and I am a songwriter. So yes, we understand. And if you don't have $5 extra, but you would love to hear some extra songs, just consider it a gift from me and from the church. Just please come anyway. That makes sense. If you have a $1,000 bill in your pocket and you don't know what to do with it, right? If it's burning a hole in your pocket, that's okay too. But seriously, don't not come because you don't have extra money. Okay, just come and enjoy. So I'm gonna sing you something. One of the beautiful things about singing for the same group, and I know some of you are not the same as 1999, but some of you are, and some of you were so sweet to ask right away as soon as you see me how my boy is doing. So when I sang it in 1999 for this community, I had far smaller stomach, more hair on my head, and no wife, dog, baby, or mortgage. So other than that, everything's pretty much the same. So for those of you who were sweet enough to ask, Jude is now 11, and he is happy and healthy, and is just a good kid. He's a good kid. And he plays drums, and unfortunately, he's naturally talented at it. I enjoy that joke, and it's true. It's both a joke and true. But I thought I'd share this song with you. I don't think I've shared it. Maybe I have. Maybe I've shared this song with you all before, but it's so personal, and everything I do, as you can tell, I mean, I'm not pretending to feel these songs as I sing them. That beautiful, brief talk got me thinking. That beautiful talk, full-length talk, got me thinking. You know, that song, I wasn't absolutely not planning on singing it, but it felt like that's where you were. You know, you were asking me to sing that song, so you know what I mean. And this song is came from a phone call that my wife and I received from Jude's teacher when he was in first grade. He's now finishing fifth. And if you're wondering why the teacher called, it wasn't because he was in trouble. It was because he had done something really quite special, small but special, that the teacher wanted us to know about, which was that he had simply spoken up for a kid in the class who didn't speak a word of English and was getting in all kinds of trouble, didn't understand anything going on. And Jude came home for weeks and weeks with a daily story of something crazy that this boy, I'll call him Ethan, had done, thrown an elbow or tripped somebody or just had no idea what was happening. Who can blame him? He had just arrived from Vietnam with his family, all lovely, all sweet, all smiling, but brand new to America. And this little boy was struggling. And one day, the teacher called and said, I just want you to know that I read a book for the class today, 28 kids. And when I finished, Jude raised his hand and said, I think Ethan did such a good job listening that he should get an extra point today. Right? And I'll probably talk about it a little bit during the concert, but it flashed me right back to my own Bubby, his great-grandmother, who arrived in the country, the youngest of 13, from Poland, not speaking a word of English. And on her deathbed, I visited her with this guitar, and we recounted one of her favorite stories and high points of her life. She didn't even finish grammar school. She had to go to work to support her family. But when she started in kindergarten, she couldn't speak a word of English. And in second grade, she won the spelling bee. And 90 years later, she was still proud. And I told Jude, you don't know what Ethan is capable of. He might be the smartest, the funniest. He might turn out to be your best friend. He might turn out to be a genius artist or a doctor. You have no idea. All you do know is a sentence like that makes a difference. That's it. And a little while later, I wrote this song. Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger on the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone, there's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. 'Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope, my boy, you'll come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So put down roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child.
How am I supposed to talk after that? Yes, I did raise a kind child, 2 of them, actually. Oh, wow. If you are here for the first time today, if you're a guest, if you'd like to raise your hand, we have a gift for you. If there anyone here for there we have someone over here. 1, 2, 3, 4 people. There we go. And if you'll fill that out, welcome. Yes, let's give them a hand. Welcome. If you'll fill out the card and take it to our bookstore, then you will get another gift, and it's a book. Thank you for coming today, and we hope you enjoyed this wonderful, dynamic, enlightening service. We also have at this center wonderful volunteers. We have hospitality, greeters, stewards, sound booth. We have practitioners. And practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer. And if you are in need of an affirmative prayer, we have a small taste of that for you today at the 2 back tables over here. Our practitioners today are Cheryl Lyman, Jill Burnett, and Mary Casa. And they are available to you as our gift for you today. If you would like to have a longer session with a practitioner, if you've hit a bump in your road, their cards are on the back wall over here. Their pictures and their cards with their phone numbers. You can contact them. So, yes. And now, Karen Allen.
Well, you know, this is the first Sunday of the month, and we usually sing happy birthday for anybody who is, yay. Oh, we have Jules coming up. So if your birthday is in May, please stand. Let us sing to you. Josh back there. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Honor you this month and always. All right, so as you know, we have the wonderful Daniel here today, so you are invited to stay after the service and enjoy some more of his music. And after the last note, go grab a bite to eat and get ready for the concert, which starts at noon. And as we mentioned, the suggested love offering is $25 or more. Well worth the price. Also, you know, he's been coming here for about 25 years, and so have I.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, and that first CD that you mentioned carried me through one of the hardest times of my life. So,
Yeah, really.
yes. So he has CDs available,
Yeah.
and it will absolutely carry you through whatever part of your life you are
That's
in.
nice of you,
Yes,
Karen. Thank you.
absolutely.
Actually, I was telling Alice that I sold the very first copies of my very first album at the Capistrano Center.
And it was me. And it was probably me. Thank you.
They're not all CDs, by the way, anymore. I have download cards and USB drives, but I do think of the CDs as CDs.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
wonderful.
It's
But thank
old.
you, that's really
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And today is your last day to bid on our Gatherings and Gourmets for God events. So take a look at the table in the back and see which events resonate with you and place your bid. You don't want to miss out on any of these. They all actually build our community.
And they look, by the way, like a lot of fun.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
They're
woo!
really, really nice
That's
things on
fun,
the list.
yeah.
If you haven't looked at the list, you're gonna want to do one of them. Like, they're really nice, fun things to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, like consistently, there's like 15 different things.
Did you
And
bid on
it's-
some?
I didn't. The commute would kill me a little bit, but
Yeah.
it really is a great
Yes.
list of things to do.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. And this Wednesday, we have our meditation, metaphysics, and mysticism gathering. And so that meets right here at 6:30, and just enjoy some meditation time and time to discuss spirituality with like-minded people. That's from 6:30 to 7:30. And registration is now open for Centers for Spiritual Living Annual Summer Conference, The Newness of Now, Retreat, Renew, Reconnect. And it's held at the Asilomar Conference Center. Yay, we've missed it. Come be inspired by our own Reverend Alice, who is giving one of our power talks, as well as many other of the wisdom keepers in our philosophy. So early bird pricing ends June 16th. See the kiosk in the back of the room for further information. And so for a list of all the ongoing activities that we have, and we have a lot of them, grab one of our invitations in the lobby and take it home with you, and then you'll know what's going on. And now we get to sing our closing song with the person who wrote it, and he's going to play it for us, and Reid is going to come up and join us in singing Love is My Decision.
You're singing too, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are all.
Awesome. Okay. You guys ready? Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how.
decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
And so what I know is that is indeed our decision. We decide to love everywhere, every place, every how. And so it is.